welcome to another episode of Beer for Breakfast ABV. I am Danielle from the Moog Show on 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, Paul Segura from Karl Strauss.
Cheers.
You okay over there?
I'm good.
Oh, I thought you were leaning against the wall.
I was just kind of like
I
going.
was like, I know you were about to go on like a Hawaiian vacation,
Yeah.
but you know, we're here right now, man.
Be here now.
I'm here now.
Be present.
I got beer in my hand. We're ready to do this.
You've got great beer in your hand
I
because
do.
we have San Diego / North Park's newest brewery to open, the Original 40.
Yeah.
So we have head brewer Chris with us. We also have the general manager Sarah with us. Welcome, guys.
Good to have you
Thank
guys.
you. Cheers.
This is not Chris's first time on Beer for Breakfast,
not.
so luckily we know what to expect.
Turn the
But it
mic
should be
up.
fun. So we are doing a little pre-funk, a little pre-game with Let's Brew Tomorrow, a New England hazy style IPA coming in at 6.3% ABV. Tell me about this beer, Chris.
This is a beer that we brewed with Pure Project. I was just up real late.
Don't fear the murk.
No, don't be scared.
Jesse Pine.
I was up real late one night and I just called Winslow and he answered. I was like, let's brew tomorrow. He's like, do you know it's midnight? And I was like, well, I do now. And so he said,
What were
yes.
you doing?
Yeah, I was
Yeah, why are you up so late?
just, hanging out, washing
Twinker.
kegs. But yeah, so he showed up and we had a bunch of stuff. So it was kind of a kitchen sink beer in a good way. A couple kinds of Pilsner, wheat notes, rye and spelt, and then just some love after that.
Well,
It's,
whatever you did, man, it turned out really good.
It's working.
Nelson,
A lot of love.
Yeah, Nelson, Vic Secret, and Mosaic Cryo.
Super
It's
duper
hot.
juicy. I got like a lot of pineapple, a lot of citrus orange off of
Yeah.
it.
Some peach, but not as much as
Stone fruit,
say like
yeah.
we have a house hazy IPA that's juice maize, and that one goes way more to the peach side with citrus, Simcoe, and Mosaic. So it's kind of nice to have.
How do you get the mouthfeel for such like a? I'm 6.3.
Well, I boiled it for 2 weeks, and no, that's what everybody. I keep seeing those lately. It's
The oats and the wheat.
The oats and the wheat's a big percentage, and then the yeast isn't as attenuative, so it leaves a little bit of sugar behind. It's about twice as much sugar.
You
left
also go
with-
high mash temp.
Yeah, medium high, like 154-ish. Like I
right.
know some people get way up, like 160, but
We're giving away all your proprietary secrets.
oh no,
I know,
there's no,
right? Hey.
there's
Get
no
your
secrets.
babas out of there.
There's no secret.
I don't want you to taint the next beer.
So this one looks like it's been filtered.
What are we
Looks
at?
nice and bright. Is this the German?
Schlock Purist.
Oh
German
yeah,
Pilsner.
so this isn't not filtered, just a lot of time.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'm trying not to filter
I can
or
see
find
it.
any of our German lagers, if possible. Yeah, that definitely doesn't pass the finger test.
Oh, is that a real test?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it? I've never, in the
So-
over 3 years I've been doing Beer for Breakfast, I've never heard of the finger test.
When
Enlighten me.
people look at a hazy, if they hold their fingers behind it and you can even see some shadow of a finger, it has failed the test.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not my test.
I
but
prefer
I
them
know
like
the
that,
test.
actually.
Yeah.
I wish we had done the test before with the hazy.
Yeah, you weren't
Damn
gonna
it, Chris.
you weren't gonna see shit through that.
Well, this one has a nice nose on it. Not like
Ooh.
sulfury or anything,
Not anymore.
as a lot of German lagers do.
Yeah, during the process, like getting up towards the end of it, like you get it a little bit, it starts to get a little less, and then it's like day 35 for us. Day 35, 36, it suddenly is just kind of goes. I kind of like it when I get just a touch.
I've
There's a
come to
li-
like it as well. I
Yeah.
wasn't such a big fan of it early on, but over the years, it kind of grew on me.
when it's good. When you have a little too much, it's like, hey, this is
Yeah.
somebody
It's
eating
a
a
little
hard-boiled
poopy.
egg around
Yeah,
here. And
for
yeah.
sure.
But
This is a good beer, 4.7% ABV, so it's not super ginormous, but it still
Yeah.
has a little kick behind it.
yeah, it's just it's Pilsner and hops and yeast.
Is this going to be a flagship beer for you guys?
It will be, but it'll be depending on the rest of the schedule. It'll be on a lot, but it might. If we do run out of it for a short time, we'll have another one. We have a Helles that's going to come out
Ooh.
either at the end of the week or beginning of next week.
What's
and
the
so
name of that
one
Helles?
of the two.
Yeah. What's the name of that?
What's the
house?
name?
But it's funny that you should ask. So it's named Crispy Boy, but so Capital Brewing, we all know Wade that used to work at Coronado. They just released a beer called Crispy Boy, Crispy and then BOI. That's the name that I picked too, but it's spelled CHRISPY. Little narcissistic.
We see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's different than
But
theirs.
it's different.
It's different. So it's actually pretty funny. We have a sign printed that looks almost exactly like the sign that they posted in theirs, but no contact, about the same time. They're in, is that Australia? I think is where Capital Brewing's at. No communication, and we somehow kind of had a very similar idea.
Cease and desist.
Yeah. Theirs is a Pilsner, ours is a Helles.
But it's all in good fun, right? At that point,
yeah.
it's all like,
Well,
we're all just kind
I
of.
messaged them and said, you're going to laugh your ass off in a couple weeks.
Everybody loves a crispy boy.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Right?
Who doesn't?
So when you get a cease and desist for that beer, then you'll come back to this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go back and forth
Just
between
kinda-
that one and the cease and desist one. So.
Yeah. Well, as
I
long
love
as you
this
got
beer.
something light on
good.
tap
Yeah.
for everybody who walks in, give me your lightest beer.
Yeah.
So let's get an idea of what your tap list looks like. You guys just opened up this month really to the public.
weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're super brand new. So I'm assuming that a good portion of our viewers right now haven't gotten the chance to go to Original 40. What does your beer list look like? What do we expect going in there?
We sort of have a little of everything right now. We're able to have guest taps too. So we do have a couple things to round things out. Like we have a Harlot, and we have the Bruck from Burning Beard, Harlot from
Your
Society.
guest list is solid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if we
some
don't
good
have
stuff.
it and our friends make a good version of it, I think the idea is to try to get beer just from our friends in town, and just fill in the gaps. Like,
Yeah.
as a brew pub, you don't have a big production facility and a ton of tanks. I can't make 10 beers at a time, so it kind of makes it easier if we do that.
So how many Original 40 beers are on?
Shoot,
18 today.
18, yeah.
Whoa, okay.
And how many
I
fermenters
don't
do you
have.
have?
I don't
Like,
have enough
five?
for all of us.
Yeah.
So we invite our friends. You have 18 beers, and
18
you
beers
just
up in 2
opened.
weeks.
You've been
Yeah.
so busy.
I was in that building all alone for a while.
Oh, I'd be lying if there were days that I wasn't going down University Avenue and looking in like the weirdo. Luckily, I'm like, no, I'm not one of the normal weirdos on University. I'm the other weirdo.
Yeah.
I know.
Just
Well, I
looking
didn't
for
have-
the beer guy.
I know what I'm
I
looking
didn't.
for.
I didn't have to spray you with the hose.
No.
Luckily.
Yeah.
Did you? Have you had to do that?
I haven't had to, but I keep the hose, handy.
Got to keep it handy.
Yeah, just in case.
So your fermenters are like 20 barrel, right? So you're brewing.
We have 3 15s and 2 30s.
Oh, wow.
I
okay.
haven't done any double batches yet. I did a big knockout, or a larger knockout of Mexican lager that we just released, Las 40. And so I did like 20 barrels of that.
Okay.
But the idea is the ones that are going to move, that we want to move and send out a little bit to distribution,
those
we'll
in
do a
the
double
30s,
batch.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the rest of the stuff will kind of turn. I have 4 serving tanks too, so I have
That's
that
awesome.
can push it over too. But we
So then you take some of the brands you normally do and you'll add
have some variations. Yeah.
grapefruit or whatever to them.
Yeah,
That gives
there's
you more
a-
beers on tap.
A grapefruit version, double dry hopped. We had a peach and apricot and a pineapple coconut of a couple of the hazy beers.
Yeah.
Hibiscus.
Yeah, hibiscus
Hibiscus
blonde.
is fun.
Yeah, everybody likes that pink color too. It's our rosé blonde now, I guess.
Yeah,
And I just, as long as I've been going to Mexican food shops, which is as long as I've been alive, I guess, I always get Jamaica. So I gravitate towards
Yep.
hibiscus.
Me too.
So, speaking of the tasting room itself, you guys serve food, right?
We do, yeah. Our
So
kitchen
what
is
is the-
open 5 to 10 every day right now.
What's the menu look like? What are some of the highlights?
So we like to call it elevated bar eats. So we have your basic food items. We have a really awesome burger. We have a really beautiful charcuterie board. But we also have some really interesting things. Like we have a gougere, which is technically like a puff pastry that is filled with an actual beer cheese made with
Made
this
with
Pilsner.
this Pilsner.
Wow.
Yeah, they're so good.
Hey, so
Yeah.
there's some crossover then.
There sure is. I love cooking with beer too, and Luke, our chef, also loves it. So we're really trying to get a lot of our beer into the menu.
That's awesome. I applaud you
yeah.
guys for that.
Yes.
And everything Luke makes is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Like, it doesn't matter if he made me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It would
It's
probably
gonna be the
the
best
most
one.
perfectly made
Absolutely.
PB&J I've ever had.
well, while
What
we're
would you pair with that?
Ooh, yeah.
With that,
The dry stout.
Ooh,
probably
all right.
the dry stout.
Ah, well,
with the
that is
brown.
what we'll
Yeah.
get into next. Well, we're
Yeah.
finishing up these right now. The name, the original 40.
Yes.
Who wants to take?
Who wants to
Who
take
wants
the
to take
original
it?
40? You hit
I
it.
think I have the most practice. So
You know practice.
Yeah, I know practice. The original 40 acre parcel that became all of North Park that we know today is right where we're at, and I think it encapsulates. I think that Hess is in there with us too, but it was a 40 acre citrus farm called Hartley's North Park. All of North Park morphed from there, and that's right where we're at.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's
So
kinda
are
cool.
are you technically considered like a historical landmark, or like the land you guys are on? Or
Well, it's on Wikipedia. I mean, that's it's good for something.
So it's legit.
Check that for
City
us.
Council,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Come on! Wait. You got the original little 40 here.
I wonder if I know there's some pieces of concrete around that still have the original stamp that's like 1800s or early late 18, I think it's early 1900s. But I don't know that there's actually anything that maybe we should
Look into
make
it.
I'm just,
that
you
way.
know,
Anybody listening? Who can do that?
I throw ideas out there. Sometimes they
Somebody's
stick,
gonna take the ball
and
and
when
run.
they
Yep.
stick, I usually take a percentage of it. So
There
we're
you
Good
go.
to know.
throwing
Good to
that
know.
out there. If this sticks.
So your face might be bronzed and put on it.
On the sidewalk.
Ooh, yeah.
See.
Yeah.
See.
Can you imagine how obnoxious that would be? Oh my gosh. Well, cool. So as we're finishing up the Pilsner, we're actually going to get into the dry stout. And this is the No Practice Dry Stout. It's a 4.8% ABV stout.
No Practice was the very first beer that we ever brewed at Original 40, and I asked everybody to not be there. I wanted to be alone.
So what did you do to this beer then that you were alone?
Nothing.
Yeah. Hey.
Now I'm like,
Well,
Did you have clothes on?
well, what didn't I do?
One can
Oh,
I had boots on,
oh well.
you have
all
one
right.
lucky wife.
boots and gloves.
Sorry,
Nah,
Sarah.
I
Sorry,
was
Sarah.
I was so nervous. I want everything to be perfect every time, and
So brand new brewing system. You kind of have some
Yeah.
trepidation, right? You want like
Yeah.
you probably did a water brew though before you did that.
I did.
You had to passivate everything.
Yeah, this one seemed
Did you
like
have
the
to
perfect
talk
one.
nicely to the system before you used her?
I did.
Like you guys had
Yeah.
an introduction,
There's
you
a-
chatted for a second,
Absolutely.
you figured
Say a
out
prayer to the
Touch
goddess
her in the
like
right spot.
Kazi.
what makes her tick,
Yeah.
what makes her
Yeah.
happy.
Sweet talked her a little bit.
There was a lot of cool jazz and R&B.
Yeah,
a lot of
nice. Some Miles Davis.
This beer to me just seemed like the perfect first brew. It's roasty with one hop addition, and so for me, I was able to test this and get a baseline for my hop utilization. It's a roasty beer, so it doesn't.
It's not
supposed to make
super
no
roasty
lager.
though.
No, but it has
It's a little toasty.
had a little more to it. I mean, honestly, the second beer that I brewed was the lager that we just had, and I brewed it the very next day because it was off to the races in the beginning.
Right.
So you made
kinda going
copious
one and then
notes
the
during
other.
the first brew,
Yeah.
Yep.
especially with regards to gravity,
Even
knowing
just,
where to run
just
off
tasting
to.
the wort and seeing the bitterness level in the wort from
Dude,
that
you
one
nailed
hop
it on the
addition.
first try.
Ooh.
This beer is delicious, and it doesn't drink as heavy as you think it would just
Cheers.
by
Cheers,
looking at it.
Cheers, man.
So to me, the trick in a good dry stout is to give, like when you first gets in your mouth, it feels like it's a full, thick stout, and then you swallow it, and it's just not anymore.
Right.
This looks like a scary beer.
It
It's
does.
got a clean
You look at it and you're like,
there too.
and you drink
How
it and
big
it's
is
not
it?
so scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think it's really
4.8.
approachable.
4.8. Yeah.
This would be
tastes-
good
this
on
tastes
nitro.
award-winning.
That tastes.
There was a
Interesting.
nitro faucet that I saw you
does.
guys.
It
What
really
was on the
does.
nitro faucet?
There isn't anything right now. Nitro faucet came
Oh,
off.
there's an opportunity.
It is. Yeah, it's coming, Paul.
Hey,
I'm anxious.
This is
Hey,
Paul.
oh,
Tony.
they just opened.
The spoiler over here. No.
I know nitro beers take a while.
But you know what would be really rad is if you guys did like a thing with Hammond's ice cream because they're like your neighbors and you did
what?
like a little like beer float
Well, I will say.
kind of thing. This is
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Danielle.
oh
because-
really? Is this a thing? Is this
And those
happening?
glasses.
Well, it
right
could be.
there?
I don't know for 100% if that.
I have friends over there. I'll help you out.
I'm,
Good to
I'm
know.
with that. Well, we made another stout that's like the polar opposite of this. We did a collaboration with Kyle at Horace. It's like 12.5% vanilla, cocoa nibs, like all the crazy stuff. So it's kind of the opposite end. I think that it would be a good idea for us to do some ice cream stuff. We saved some of the cocoa nibs. We saved some of the vanilla. So
That could be the raddest ice cream social
So if
ever.
you get that chef
Yeah.
involved too,
oh,
it
it'll
could
get
end
social.
up.
We've been in
At
cahoots already about that.
12.8%, everybody will
That's
be
for
social.
sure.
All right.
Yeah. But what I did, because you have those cocoa nibs and the vanilla, I actually took some of the dry stout and pushed it in and off of those. And so I'll have like a baby brother to the big old honker.
Nice.
So we'll have a vanilla and coconut version of this as well.
Awesome.
When you have $5,000 worth of vanilla in a brink, it's really hard to just part ways with it.
It's
I'm
quite
like,
inspiring, absolutely.
what else can you do?
Yeah.
Like, what else can you do for me, little fella?
Yep.
That's awesome, guys. Well,
So go check out the original 40 like now, but if you want the ice cream and
keep an eye out. Social
coconut,
media.
and all of
Coming
that
up
stuff,
soon. Yeah, that's
there you
coming up
go.
soon.
Yeah, so where can people keep track of?
At Original 40 Beers, our Instagram, and then we update that. We update Facebook at the same time as that all the time. So Facebook and Instagram are our main ways to stay in touch with everybody.
Cool.
Cool. I have one last question for you before we go.
Uh-oh.
I didn't even prep you for this either.
Uh-oh.
It just came to me. It just came to me.
That's how all the best things go.
What
see.
is your favorite style to brew?
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Big
question.
Yes. It came to me because you're talking about your board and you have
I'll
a little bit
answer.
of something for everyone.
Paul has to answer.
I didn't ask you. I
after
didn't
me.
ask. Okay, afterward.
After me, yeah,
Afterward.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, deal.
So that I can have some reprieve. It's hard to say because I really like making those big stouts are really hard. Like it's hard to get it to work. It's hard to go. But I think that probably like a real hoppy West Coast IPA. I mean, it's your most active brew. You're back to the brew deck to add hops in a lot. It smells fantastic. Like when I put 25 pounds of fresh hops into the whirlpool, I'll go outside just to just to have it blow across. You know what I mean? Like just
to
see.
waft at you, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
From a sensory point of view and just the kind of that does it for me.
Cool. All right, now you.
So there's a lot to be said for what Chris just said. The hop,
Yeah.
the smells and stuff coming from the brew house are
sensory.
amazing. But for me, on a beer like this, getting this dark color without a lot of the roastiness requires, it's hard. It's easier said than done. And it's funny how some of the beers that people think might be easier to make are actually harder to make because of things like that. I actually like brewing Hefeweizen, German Hefeweizen.
Really?
It's not the easiest brew day. If you go too fast, you're
Right,
on a long
yeah.
day.
And people don't realize that getting that beer just right, there's a lot to it as well. Pilsners are actually way tougher than people think as well.
We have Hefeweizen on actually.
And a
Yeah,
Pilsner.
Yeah.
a little of
And a Pilsner.
everything.
Little
See?
of everything.
You go to Original
Sometimes the
40,
lighter
you get
beers.
everything you could possibly need.
I will say close second to that smoked beers.
Ooh.
Right, so that's
Craft beer.
smell in
right,
the brewery.
getting
Oh.
just the right amount of smoky
Like,
flavor,
yeah.
so it
enough
doesn't taste like you're drinking a beer out of a dirty ashtray.
Exactly. Yeah.
But just a hint.
Right on, guys. Well, Chris, thank you so much. Sarah,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for
you.
telling
Congrats
us
on the
all
opening.
about
Thank
you so
Original
much.
40.
The
Yeah,
place is great, by the way.
congratulations.
Thank you. Come check us out.
Make your way over there. They are right there on University. You guys are in between.
The Bank of America and North Park Breakfast Company, which also just opened up.
Easy peasy to find, right there.
They close at 3, we open at 3.
See, you go get
Park
your
in their
lunch
parking
on,
lot.
you go
Synchronicity.
over, you do the whole thing. Remember, every Friday, Paul comes on the Moog Show around 9:05 to do beer for breakfast and tell us, along with you, what you should be drinking. This week, we will be talking about the Original 40, so
That's true.
tune in with us. And if you happen to have ever missed a Beer for Breakfast ABV, I don't really know what you're doing because I know there's nothing else that's
Why?
more important than
Question
that.
your life.
But you can always find them at 91x.com. So thank you so much, and cheers to independently brewed craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Yeah.
91X.